I'd like to call to order the Tuesday, August 15, 2017, Brooklyn City Board of Education regular scheduled meeting. Mr. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Neal.
Here.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yeah, here, present.
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Hennings.
Here.
Mr. Roper.
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Comments from visitors. In order for the board to fulfill its obligation to complete the planned agenda in an effective and efficient fashion, a maximum of 30 minutes of public participation as it pertains to school-related topics will be permitted at each meeting. Each person wishing to address the board will approach the podium and state his/her name and address. If several wish to speak, each person will be allotted 3 minutes until the total time of 30 minutes is used. During that period, no person may speak twice until all who desire to speak have had the opportunity to do so. The period of public participation may be extended by a vote of the majority of the board. Anybody?
Ooh, everybody stay back now. Stay back.
Okay, we're going to move on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Glykoff.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Neal. I have a brief report, but I want to start with just a couple of things. Kind of looking at the website, today is the 15th.
It is.
Next Monday, our kids return to school on the 21st. So I want to just kind of refer everybody. Our website has, over the summer, had our summer reading and our supply lists, as well as a button there for the start of the year information. And Mr. Smith, I'm going to have him just hit that. And what it does is it brings us to a calendar. And I think this is a good calendar to show you, just to kind of tell you where we're at, because 17th, our teachers return as well, which is just a couple of days, and a couple of them wanted to come back so early, they wanted to come back today. But that day is convocation. Again, I invite all of you as a board to come in the morning, convocation about 8:15. We're going to have breakfast, obviously, beforehand as well, and come join our staff for that, 7 o'clock.
I'm there. That's it.
Good.
If I can find my alarm clock.
So, but that day, the balance of that day is some meetings as well. But that evening, we have open house for our preschool. We have open house for our elementary grades 1 through 3, as well as the intermediate school grades 4 to 7. And then we have grade 8 and new high school students. So the principals have felt that it's strongly about having our open houses before school to kind of set the stage, do some things to really kind of set that tone and things that are necessary for parents. You know, they like to bring stuff in. As you look to the following week, 21st is our first day for grades 1 through 12. On those first couple of days, we have our kindergarten students take assessments. And so again, we did that last year, we're doing it again this year. They'll be coming in, kindergarten teachers, it's a good opportunity for them to see smaller groups of kindergartners first, and then also give them assessments. And then you'll notice after those 2 days, they organize the class lists, and then they also have their kindergarten orientation on that Wednesday. But the open house is on Tuesday the 22nd in the evening for grades 9 through 12. And then really as we look at August 24th is the day that all of our students will be here together in the Brooklyn City Schools. So I wanted to just give you that. It kind of gives you an overview of kind of what the next couple of weeks are going to bring as we start school up. Related to that is where we are in terms of enrollment. Wanted to share this with you. This is as of probably about 11 o'clock this morning.
Thank you.
Wanted to give you the grades and the counts. Just to give you a sense of what happens, during the summer months we get a lot of, we may get some letters to the district offices as well as the school offices about withdrawals. Kids maybe have enrolled in other schools. We get a letter that says we need to request records. So right now the secretaries are processing that. In the meantime, Mrs. Baker is in the process right now of enrolling a lot of students. You know, I try to always keep you updated on where we are with kindergarten. You know, right now we have 74 signed up, which is pretty commensurate with where we were last year at this time. She's got a lot of appointments over the next couple of days.
Good.
So we still have some people coming in. And actually, I think as you look at these numbers, and this adds up to just over 1,300 for the school district, I think you're only going to see this number probably go up over probably the next 2 weeks. Because I think most of the withdrawals have been processed. Now, again, there may be those kids who, they're on our rolls and they just don't show up the first day, and that happens. And then we just have to figure out where they are. But I see these numbers probably going up. As I look at these numbers, there's a couple grade levels that I'm a little concerned about. One I highlighted with you, in my weekly report. Second grade, I'm a little concerned about because of the size there. So we're looking very closely at that grade. But I wanted to just keep that apprised to you. Interesting side note is, you've talked with me and charged me with communication and, looking at that of what we do next year and in the coming year with the school district. Well, I came across an old communication that was probably circa 1990. Pretty good stuff. But we always talk about the enrollment. Enrollment data for that year, actuals of 88, 89, 1,173 students.
Wow.
I thought that was interesting because a lot of folks always kind of glamorized that we were this district of 1,500, 1,600, and we were at one point, but I think that was a distant past. So it's interesting, and then they also did projections of where we would be about 10 years out, and even into 98, 99, they projected about 1,317. So we're at the projection. But again, I also think, with the next couple of weeks, I suspect we'll be very similar to where we were last year. Starting to see numbers, 8th and 9th grade is where we see the influx of kids coming from perhaps parochials or charters and communities. So, and we're seeing those numbers reflected in that. So I wanted to share that with you. Another item that one of the board members asked me about was, where we were with the athletic eligibility table and study tables and so forth, and I wanted to provide an update on that. To just give you a background, remember we talked about the new athletic policy 2430 as well as extracurricular 2431. And one of the items which I thought was a really good one that the board came with is, how do we keep our students eligible? How do we get them to stay eligible for these? So one of the things I know you spoke of was, how could we perhaps have a study table for some of our students? Here's the latest of what we have. We've got 4 high school teachers who are going to help with that. Actually, in talking with Ms. Hostetler, she said that there were many teachers that were interested in it, so they just really had to kind of pare that down a little bit. What they're scheduling for is Mondays and Wednesdays after school, Tuesdays and Thursdays before school. And student athletes will have to attend either 3 of 4 or 2 of 3. We might have another odd weekend like a Labor Day weekend or so forth. Those teachers, those support teachers will communicate with the parents, the teachers, and the coaches about, their status, are they attending, what are their, what's their studies like. And then they're going to run the weeks Friday through Thursday, so that might say, okay, if you've done this, then you're eligible. Obviously, during the fall, we've got Friday nights and we've got football games. It also runs really when you talk about winter with basketball as well. And then next week, Mr. Kelber's going to be sitting down with both those teachers as well as the student athletes who will need to be there. So I wanted to kind of give you
Question.
that update on it. Yes,
Is
sir.
that inclusive middle school?
Yes, that will be.
I could not remember if we created that. But
Yes.
Good, appreciate that, thank you.
So, I'll be curious to I'd like to give you kind of an update once we get into it, because certainly we have all the plans for it, and then once you get into it and see it in practice, there'll be some items we'll probably need to iron out. But I think it's a good start. And then the last thing is looking forward to this Saturday. The Chamber of Commerce has the picnic in the park, a big event for them. And, obviously the Chamber is a big supporter of the school district in a lot of ways. We, as the Brooklyn City Schools, will have a presence there. We're going to have one of our buses there. We'll have a tent set up. And I shared with you the the magnets there, the new attendance line magnets. We're going to be handing those out. We have some other goodies for folks. But some of the administrators and myself will be there pretty much from about 1 o'clock when it gets started till about 6:30. So, but it should be a good event. I think they're going to have fireworks at dusk. That's what I've heard. Is that
Yep.
correct, Mr. Hennings?
Yep.
So,
Yep, I'll be doing them.
should be, I think the weather right now is forecasted to be pretty good.
77 and clear.
So, should be a nice day and a nice event, though. But nice way to kick off our.
They spent quite a bit of money on it, too.
That's
It's going to
correct.
be a pretty good show.
So, that is my report for this evening.
You got it, thank you, Dr. Glykoff. On to the treasurer's report, Mr. Street.
If you'd like to look at my update there, I listed the items that I'm going to speak about, and I'll run through those, and Dr. Glykoff can chime in when he feels necessary, and anybody else, because these questions about these projects have come up over the summer. So the first item is the House Bill 264 Energy Conservation Project, and that is with PlugSmart. They are the company that we have almost contracted with. And they've submitted the project to the Ohio Schools Facility Commission for the commission's approval. I emailed Will this evening, pretty late, and I didn't hear back from him, just to check and see if the commission had approved the project yet. We don't expect any hang-ups. There was some more information they wanted about a month ago, and I gave that to them, so we don't really anticipate any problems with the commission. The contract that came back from PlugSmart, our attorney is looking over that contract and had a couple of items that he wanted Dr. Glykoff and myself to look at, and then Mrs. Neal to look at one was regarding insurance, if we needed a builder's risk insurance or if our own insurance would cover it, things like that. So nothing real serious, but we're still looking over the contract. So that's where we stand so far at this time. If you recall, the House Bill 264 is a state-approved project, or you can borrow money under House Bill 264 that was approved at the state level. And so that would be our intent. We don't have enough money to just do this project out of cash. What this project will be for, as we've talked about in the past, is interior high school lighting, and then controls for the mechanicals. The cafeteria hood venting, where hot air at this time goes up into the atmosphere out of an older hood, which will be retrofitted, or a new hood will be put into to not have all that warm air go out the hood. The estimated savings is $50,000 per year in energy costs, and that's what the Ohio Schools Facility Commission is reviewing to make sure that those are correct numbers that PlugSmart has estimated. So the House Bill 264 project allows us to borrow money, and then it gets paid back by the reduced energy costs that we have through the year. So one of the things that we're going to look at as we go forward here a little bit is that we sure hope that the permanent improvement levy that's on this November's ballot for the renewal of the 1 mil that currently exists, and an increase of a $0.5 mil, that along with that we'll be able to do some repairs or re-roofing of the high school, new technology items in the schools, and other maintenance projects as they come up. We like to think of these schools as being really new, and they are, but in order to keep them as new as we can, we need to do maintenance every year on them because they age every day. So the PI levy would go for repairs even to the new buildings. As I mentioned, the PI will be a renewal plus a $0.5 mil, and it'll generate $286,000 a year. Currently, we generate about $138,000, and that $138,000 is the same amount that we generated 45 years ago when that levy was passed in 1972. So if anybody has any questions or comments about that information?
It's a long time ago.
Question for you, John.
Yes, sir.
Now that the bond's been refinanced, do we have a better idea of how much interest has been saved for Brooklyn taxpayers? Has that been projected out?
Yes, so we did a refunding of the 2013 bonds on July the 19th, and there was really a lot of interest. It was just a really good time to go to market. There was a lot of interest in the Brooklyn bonds, and there was 4 times as much demand. I was able to watch the bidding on the screen, and you would see the amount of bonds that we had available. So let's say that there were 20 bonds available. We'd have like 60 requests for those bonds, so it went really well. And so at the end of the day, which doesn't always happen, all the bonds were sold, and we received really good prices, really good interest rate. The savings, the last time I looked, was over $4 million in money that taxpayers will not have to pay into the county coffers to pay for, and that bond issue. They won't see that on their tax bill because it's been reduced, that interest cost.
$4 million is saved over the next 30-plus years, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
so they wouldn't be able to,
37
in
years.
general, be able to look at their tax bill and see that
Saved.
reduction specifically, but over a 30-plus year period, there will be $4 million that the taxpayers of Brooklyn will not have to pay for the bonds to finance the school.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
Okay, then the next item that I had there, the Bureau of Workers' Compensation had made it known in the last couple months that they were giving a refund or a rebate of monies that were paid into the Workers' Compensation Fund. They have refunded money about every year for a couple of years now. It has to do with the amount of money that they charge for the workers' compensation estimated claims. I believe those claims have been lower than they expected, and also I think their interest on their investments has come back better. So they're able to refund money. So the Brooklyn schools received $54,000 check in July as a refund. So, woohoo!
Not bad.
If no questions about that one, the next item is arbiter pay, or sometimes called ref pay, and it's in association with Arbiter Sports. And Athletic Director Kelber had talked about this probably in April, had mentioned it to me, and this summer we looked into it. Arbiter Sports, I think for the last couple of years, has allowed Mr. Kelber to schedule events and athletic events on their site. And then the next step here, which we have contracted into, is to pay the referees that officiate those games through arbiter pay or ref pay. And what that does, I looked, we created 400 purchase orders last year to pay officials for all the games, the volleyball games, the soccer games, the football games. And someone has to create all those requisitions, all those purchase orders. Dr. Lykoff and I have to sign them. We cut checks based on that. We have to match that up with the referees. Sometimes the referees are not able to make the game, and it causes some little more of a problem. With this arbiter pay or ref pay, it's done electronically, and so we have money in a separate bank account, and actually this company's out of Utah. And once a referee referees a game, Mr. Kelber will sign off on that, push a button, the money goes from our bank account into the referee's account, and it's done. So it should save quite a bit of time and money by going into this arbiter pay. It's-
All the schools are going to that too,
Yeah,
so.
there's a lot of schools in it. It's endorsed. I think it's actually part of the NCAA, and it's endorsed by the Ohio Athletic Association. So I think we'll be really happy with that. Next item is if the board members that are on the Finance and Facilities Committees, if we could pick a time to have a joint meeting, if that would be your wishes, to talk about facilities improvements and funding for those things, to get an idea of what you would like to, even better than what we already have, but where we want to spend some money, where we want to improve the facilities, and what funding and what type of funding we would use for that. Borrowing, some money that's contingency money that is left over from the building of this school. How to package that together to do what the board wishes to do with the finances and the facilities.
Are you asking for a date now?
I do not have to, but if people are ready.
Mr.
to
Sanger?
you know.
Can't do it this Thursday.
Okay. No, I wasn't expecting, let's see, what is today?
Yeah, I
Today's
guess we were
Tuesday?
probably thinking
Let's do it next week.
We were thinking next week.
Yeah.
Next week. Give me a day.
Yeah, if you folks would check for next Thursday morning, which 25th, did we say?
24th, I believe that is.
24th, so
Yes.
you can let me know at a later
Is
time.
that Thursday?
Is that what you're
It is a
recommending?
Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday.
Next Thursday, the 24th, at 8 o'clock in the morning in the Treasurers
I'll
Conference.
confirm now. It's a good date for me. Wednesday's not, but
I'm gonna say,
8 o'clock?
what did you
Yes.
say, 8:30, or you wanted, well, whenever you drop off?
First thing in the morning?
First thing in the morning, if whatever's most convenient for you.
Let's do 8 to 8:15-ish, whatever,
Good.
like we usually do. Let's do, someone has to change, just let us know. Let's put 8:15,
I'll put a reminder in my weekly report for you.
please. Thank you. Let's do that Thursday, 24th. Should be all right.
Okay,
Is that all you got?
that's all I got.
All right, appreciate that.
Yep, welcome.
Had the longer of the two reports, I thought I was gonna have to stop them there. All right, on to comments from board members, board committee reports. We're gonna start off with Mr. Roper.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a short report tonight. We had a Polaris board meeting last week, and the board was able to view schematic drawings of the building renovations. Drawings and the plans were made with a lot of input from the instructors and the companies that are Polaris business advisors. For example, the dental lab and medical assisting areas will be duplicates of real-life labs and exam rooms. Now that the drawings have been fleshed out, the preliminary cost analyses can be done, and they can be honed into material and labor packages that can begin to be negotiated. The rest of the administration has been hard at work coming up with plans to move rooms and equipment. We also recognized and congratulated Bob Timmons on his 10th anniversary as a Polaris superintendent. He received proclamations from Senator Skindell, as well as Representatives Dolan and Patton. Also, we on the board have decided to take the initiative to make sure that the public is aware of all the good things that the Brooklyn schools are doing. We realize that our scorecard numbers are not what they need to be, and we have a detailed plan to address those numbers. But those numbers don't tell the whole story. Plain Dealer puts the numbers up over the fold on a Sunday morning, but rarely, if ever, talks about the various success stories about the district, and good luck trying to find anything about Brooklyn schools in the Weekly Sun paper. The beginning of this is the billboard that went up this morning on Ridge Road by Ridge Park Square. That will only be the start of what our publicity offensive. Does that sound good? Okay. I know it's hard to believe, but next week is the start of school. Good luck to all the students, student athletes, and students in their various extracurricular activities. And as always, I can be reached at james.oper@brooklyn.k12.oh.us or 216-485-8195. That's all I got.
Thank you, sir. On to Mr. Singer.
Thank you, Mr. President. As school starts officially next week, I want to take this opportunity to thank our cleaning and maintenance staff crew and our summer crews for putting our buildings and facilities in ship shape. In addition to this, kudos to the coaches and volunteers who have been working diligently to prepare our fall athletes for competition. Our varsity football team looked very good at practice, as did our varsity girls soccer. I enjoyed an evening watching them practice and sweat. What can I say about our great band practicing their cadence and music under band director, Mr. Sullivan? Looks like we're going to have another great year with the teams and with the band. I'd like to thank our boosters again to help make and facilitate all that is happening with our sports activities. And unfortunately, as funding continues to get cut by the state of Ohio, we as a board need everybody's help to remind the folks down in Columbus that we are not a rich district as they claim we are. And perhaps it might be time for setting up a town hall meeting with some of our elected officials and state reps right here in Brooklyn to address the decrease in state funding for this next 2-year budget. I remain committed to do more as your Brooklyn representative and on the board and encourage more dialogue with state officials, imploring them to please revisit the formulas used for our district funding. I can be reached by calling or texting me at 216-978-1931. End of report. Thank you.
Thank you. On to Mr. Hennings.
Thank you, Ricky. Well, school starts in a couple of days, as we've all heard already. And there's going to be like this collective sigh of, oh no, when the kids go to bed at Sunday night. They're not going to be real happy. Be careful driving in the morning. There's going to be a lot of kids walking, and we all know what happened on Rodone. Rodone's going to be a one-way street, and there's not a lot of people going to be real happy with that. I'm sure those side streets are going to definitely be crowded with cars trying to avoid Rodone, so please be careful with the driving around. I'd also like the parents to have a talk with their kids when attending sporting events. Their behavior has to be the same as when it's in school. We have no room here at Brooklyn School with kids wanting to go to sporting events and acting like they just shouldn't be acting, plain and simple, putting it mildly. There's no reason for kids to be yelling and screaming at the other teams. Any abusive language won't be tolerated. They'll be dealt with on Monday morning by their principal. There's going to be a soccer game Friday. I believe it's at 4 o'clock, isn't it?
I believe it is.
Yeah, and there'll be a scrimmage, a football scrimmage, and I believe it's against John Marshall Friday night. So if you're looking for something to do Friday night, please come out and cheer the kids on. They've been working hard all summer. We have pretty close to 15 seniors on the football team, 4 on the girls soccer, 4 on the boys soccer team, and 7 on the volleyball team. So please come out and cheer them on. There's a lot of seniors involved in the sports this year, and that's good. I'm real excited about the work on the stage. It's been coming along real nice. I've seen it looks almost brand new. I saw the floor the other day, and it's been sanded and polyurethaned, and if I didn't know any better, I would have said it was brand new. I can't wait till the music and the drama department see it. They're going to be happy to use it. You already told about the Chamber of Commerce picnic. The Stuff the Bus will be taking place. I want to thank the police department and Officer Dan. They were out at Walmart and they raised about $900 in donations with school supplies, and enjoy the food and of course the fireworks. As for the billboard, I'm glad everyone likes it. It shows what our kids are capable of. Enthusiasm and pride go a long way. They earned it. Hopefully the school will be able to do that every year with the billboard. And that's all I have to say. Enjoy the picnic, enjoy the fireworks, enjoy the food, and we'll see everybody Monday morning.
Yeah, it sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
On to Mrs. Barczyk.
Thank you, Mr. President. I hope everyone has had a chance to see the billboard. I think it looks amazing. I know people have already said I've taken pictures of it, but I take pictures of everything. But I know parents have said that they're going to take their kids and have their picture taken underneath it for the seniors. It's something that they'll remember, and it's something that shows people what a great city Brooklyn is and what hard work our students are doing. $500,000 is a lot of money, and a lot of money saved from parents' pockets, and a lot of money saved by those kids not getting student loans. So congratulations to the class of 2017. We know we are very proud of our newest alumni. The start of school is Monday. I know time just flies. It seems like we were just saying summer started, but now we're going back to school. I would like to thank Mrs. Neal and all the cleaning staff for all their hard work this summer. They really are the unsung heroes that people don't realize, that they spend the whole summer getting our building back into shape so that when everyone starts back to school on Monday, it's a nice clean building ready to go. I would like to welcome back all of our students and our staff and our teachers. Welcome back for another great year. I'm sure it's going to be a good year with a lot of positive accomplishments and a lot of good things happening here. I hope everyone attends the open houses either on Thursday or on Tuesday. Please come. There will be a lot more information, such as the new attendance line that everyone will need to know, the 216-485-8171 for all attendance. There's things such as that. There's a lot of information that parents need to know, and it's better to get that information there than to, catch it from like your neighbors. It's better to get it firsthand so you can hear it straight from the horse's mouth. It's better that way. I was surprised a few weeks ago on August 10th when I was looking at the Sun newspapers. Actually, we got some positive news in there. I would like to congratulate Kathleen Neves from Brooklyn. She received a scholarship from Tri-C. She was one of 24 students who received it, who graduated high school with at least a 3.5 GPA and an exceptional ACT and SAT score. The 3 students from Brooklyn and Parma have been selected for the Cauga Community College Honors Program Fellowship, which offers high achievement students scholarships to cover tuition, fees, and books as they work towards an associate's degree. They will be full-time students and will earn their associate's degree within 2 years from Tri-C. So congratulations, Kathleen, another proud Brooklyn graduate. We are very proud of you. Congratulations, and it's good to see something positive about us in the newspaper. I encourage everyone, like my other fellow board members have said, come out and see our sports teams. I personally think they're the best, in the land. I think we're better than the Browns. I think we're better than the Cavs. I think we're better than the Indians. Come out and see our kids. They're the best. I know there will be some scrimmages this week. I believe the girls soccer team also has a scrimmage tomorrow as well. Please come out and support all of our fall sports, even though it is hard to say fall because that means the weather is changing. But come out and support all of our Brooklyn Hurricanes as they make all of us proud. And I know on Wednesday, soon to be Thursday nights, I love hearing the band practice. It is going to be a phenomenal year, and seeing those Hurricanes dance and the cheerleaders, it's just going to be an amazing year. And I just want to make sure that everybody, rest assured, Mr. Sullivan, the school, Dr. Glykoff, everybody realizes about the construction on Rodone, and we know everybody's well aware. We will march in on Fridays and everything will be okay, and our students' safety will be paramount to our decisions, and it will be okay, and our traditions will be maintained. I hope that everybody realizes the positive things we're doing here in Brooklyn and the needs that we have for our district, and I hope they consider that in November when voting for our PI levy. I hope that I would like this billboard to be like the catalyst so that people realize some of the great things that we're doing here and the positives and the education that we're offering our students. And the students here in Brooklyn are receiving an excellent education, and we really truly are. All students empowered for successful futures. We really are doing that. It isn't just a saying. So with that, Mr. President, that's all I have tonight.
You got it. You guys had everything covered. I got nothing else to say. So we're just going to move on to the approval of minutes and financial statements. I think we covered everything.
My iPad took a
Uh-oh.
wall, so I'm gonna need the copy of that.
Paper?
Yeah, thank you.
You want mine? I can't see it half the time. I can't even use it once it's done.
Our reader tonight's going to be Mr. Oper. The first one's a chop off in the bottom. You gotta look at the other, well,
Oh, yeah, got it. Resolved that the minutes of the following Board of Education meetings be adopted and all action taken by the Board of Education at said meetings are hereby reaffirmed and approved. Regular meeting, July 18th, 2017. Special meeting, July 25th, 2017.
can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Mr. Street, can you call the roll?
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the financial statements of receipts and expenditures for the month of July 2017, including all purchase orders paid and all then and now statements for the month of July as submitted.
Can I have a motion?
So
moved.
Can I have a
Second.
second? Questions, comments? Mr. Street, can you call the roll?
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby enters into an agreement with America's Best Transportation for transportation of identified Brooklyn students for the 2017-2018 school year. Agreement on file in the Treasurer's Office.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
Yeah, as we send some of our special needs students to different schools,
Monarch School, Lerner School. We're looking for the transportation that's going to be the most affordable. And so America's Best gives us another option there for that. So that's why this is in front of you tonight.
Someone we've used in the past too, right?
I'm sorry?
Someone we used in the past.
That's correct.
Thank you. Anybody else? Mr. Street, can you call the roll?
Mr. Roper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal? Mr.
Yes.
Singer?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby enters into an agreement with Partners for Success and Innovation, PSI, for Title I and Special Education Support Services for the 2017-2018 school year for the attached contract on file in the Treasurer's Office.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments, Dr. Glykoff?
Yeah, this is actually for St. Thomas More. We have to provide them services per federal regulations, but this is actually paid for from our federal grants, our title grants.
So that isn't just by choice, we are
That we are
legally
mandated to do so.
mandated to do so, and so we hire this firm for,
PSI, yeah, we hire I think a speech language pathologist, I think psych services, as well as maybe title, yeah.
and that's because they're in our district, or is that because they could be
Correct.
Because
residents
they
of
are
Brooklyn?
in our district,
I'm
they
just
are in the city of Brooklyn.
How
Trying
long
to-
has this been going on?
Clarify for the
Or
public.
as long as federal funds
As long as
have,
you were here.
yeah.
Way before you got here, way before we all was
Yes.
this.
Basically.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Mr. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Roper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the applications for the following fundraising activities on file in the Treasurer's Office. Elementary and intermediate schools spiritware sale. The dates are August 17th through September 6th, 2017. The elementary school online shopping for positive behavior intervention supports, PBIS, September 22nd, 2017 until the end of the school year.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
Pretty standard fundraising.
Thank you. Anybody else? Mr. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Roper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby accepts the resignations of the following classified employees. Melody Click, bus driver effective July 20th, 2017. Nadine Mina, bus monitor effective August 15th, 2017. Margaret Vassi, playground monitor effective July 26th, 2017.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
How many bus drivers are we down to now?
Well, spoiler alert, we're going to hire one, hopefully, in just a few moments, but this would have brought us down to 3, now we're back to 4, so, yeah, we're, this was difficult because Melody went on and took another position, and these folks are looking at either other employment or personal decisions to resign, but we're actually back to the same number at the end of this meeting, so.
Anybody else? Mr. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Roper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves granting a limited contract to the following certified personnel for the 2017-2018 school year. Alexandra Kustich, Intervention Specialist, Class 2, Step 1.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
Yeah, let me tell you a little bit about Alexa. First of all, that position, remember, was Michael Zemansky. He resigned. So we were still in need of that position. But what we were looking for was a moderate to intensive licensure. And so Mrs. Jones, I think Mr. Wingler and others had many applicants, and they interviewed several. Brought it down to a final 2. I was involved in those interviews, and Alexa was our choice. Alexa comes to us from the Copley Fairlawn schools. She was an intervention specialist there last year in a part-time position, so this being a full-time position was attractive. But she's comes to us very well regarded from Copley. So.
Okay, anybody else? Mr. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Roper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the employment of the additional individual for summer cleaning for 4 hours per day, effective July 25th, 2017, Lisa Yannick.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
Yeah, this was some late summer help. Some of you noted that our cleaning staff has been working hard, and they have been. Mrs. Neal came to me late in the summer and said, we'd like to, kind of put a little extra help in there. I approved this before the board meeting, obviously. Looking to get that extra help to kind of boost us, get us to the finish line here as we're into our final weeks of cleanup.
Everybody else? Mr. Street, can you call the roll?
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the employment of the following classified personnel for the 2017-2018 school year. Donna Workman, bus driver, Appendix B, Step 3, effective August 17th, 2017.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
And this is the,
Bus driver.
yes, this is the bus driver. We were fortunate to have Donna return to us. She was in the school district, so it was nice to be able to fill that void.
Anybody else? Mr. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the following persons for the 2017-2018 school year. Supplemental teaching assignments with the provision that such individuals comply with all rules and regulations and State Department of Education regulations pertinent to proper certification and fulfills the requirements of the job descriptions attached to their supplemental contracts. And that's going to be as noted.
And please do so. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Dr. Glykoff?
Yes, these are very typical teaching supplemental assignments, anywhere from team leader, department chair, memory book, instrumental music, etc. One of the board members asked about, what are the amounts that are with that. I think we've got a
Attachment.
handout there, thanks to Mara. She got that for us. So, again, these are within the collective bargaining agreement.
Anybody else? Mr. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal? Mr.
Yes.
Singer?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the following persons for 2017-2018 supplemental coaching assignments with the provision that such individuals comply with all high school athletic association rules and regulations and State Department of Education regulations pertinent to proper certification and/or first aid training and fulfills the requirements of the job description attached to their supplemental contracts. Timothy Hanlon, middle school football head coach. Timothy Paul, middle school football assistant coach.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
Coaching supplementals, as noted before. So
Middle school numbers up to 24 to 26, somewhere in that ballpark.
the last
Ain't too
number I'd
bad.
heard, I think, was 24. So,
For football?
yeah, for
Yeah.
middle school football.
Yeah.
And their teachers?
One is, one is
Mr.
not.
Hanlon
the
is a
two-
teacher,
Mr.
yes.
Hanlon,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a union student.
Anybody else? Mr. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal? Mr.
Yes.
Singer?
Yes.
Resolved the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the employment of the following CATS employee for the 2017-2018 school year. Brittany Hubble, CATS preschool teacher at $26.70 per hour, up to 30 hours per week, with up to an additional 4 hours per week. Leslie Ackerley, CATS preschool classroom assistant at $13 per hour, up to 28 hours per week.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
The annual hire of the CATS employees, Brittany's been with us for some time. Leslie is new, a new classroom assistant with us, so.
Anybody else? Mr. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Resolved the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves
We need-
Delegates.
Huh?
We
For
need
delegates
to,
for the
yes, we need
capital
to
conference?
pick the board needs to pick an alternate, a delegate and an alternate to capital conference.
So who'll be going down for the full time, gentlemen?
Well, it starts on Sunday now, right?
It does,
The
yeah,
Capital
you know,
Conference
that's,
Will we go to Columbus? It's starting on Sunday now this year, but then the delegate will go to the meeting. We'll represent Brooklyn at the meeting.
Do-
for the-
So John, when's the delegate
We
meeting?
could-
It'll be Monday?
I think it's probably Monday.
that's what I was gonna ask.
So
yeah.
credentials on Sunday? and-
Yeah, so the OSB conference is a little different this year, as, you know, Mr. Street and I noted the other night, they're running it Sunday through Tuesday. So, everything used to be Monday through Wednesday, now they're pushing it back, because they've got a lot of feedback from districts that said, you know, we just can't afford to have everybody away from their school districts, which I think makes sense, so, you know, perhaps that's an opportunity for us to have some time down there as a board, to be able to do that as well.
Absolutely.
Are they doing an early bird on Saturday or no?
I
they've
think it
got
is.
rid
I
of-
thought, you know,
There is an early bird now on
As
Saturday?
far as I know, there's not.
oh, there
There's
is not.
They're gonna,
Just
Okay.
Sunday, your early bird used to be on Sundays,
Yeah.
you know, and because they're gonna start on Sunday, there's not an early bird this year.
okay.
Is there anybody interested? Delegates?
I won't be there Monday. I won't be there, so I cannot do either.
I'll be there.
Yeah, I'll be there too.
I'll be going.
Guess who just got elected?
Go, I don't care.
Yeah, put me down for alternate.
Jim's, okay.
Jim will be our delegate.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approve James Oper and delegate assistant or delegate as an alternate, Rick Sanger.
Bob, you going down?
Why, you want somebody to hang out with?
I need a drinking buddy.
Whoa!
Jesus, I didn't want to say
Soft drinks.
So, yeah, yeah.
Pepsi, right? 3-2?
It'll be a
All right.
Sunday.
That's a feeble sake.
All right, where we at here? I'm gonna,
I'll make a motion to approve that one.
yeah, no, we already had a motion. No, we gotta have a motion.
No, I don't think
Can I have a
we did.
motion, please?
I
I stopped
motion,
at
I'll
the
approve
blank.
it. Motion.
I stopped at the
He
point.
stepped to the blank, so I had to move,
Okay.
yeah, motion. I moved,
And I need a second.
Second.
Alright. Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves James Oper as delegate and Rick Sanger as the alternate to the 2017 Capital Conference. Mr. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Oper,
Yes.
Mr. Hennings,
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
and Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Let's get out of that conversation.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education.
Hold on, hold on.
Alright, hold on.
Mr.
Oper, can I-
Street.
So, Mr. Oper, you're gonna need a room for Monday evening?
Yeah.
So, okay, so, Mr. Hennings, what night would you go down? Between Saturday and Monday?
Well, Saturday, I'm doing the fireworks, so I won't be able to do anything Saturday.
Well,
It isn't
It's
this
November.
weekend.
November.
This is
November.
November.
This
This is
You're
November.
retired.
Yeah.
You
I'll
could be
go
there
wherever you want me to
forever.
go, I don't care.
We might even trade you.
Okay, so Bob,
Yeah, we're good.
I better drive.
I suppose I have to find an alarm clock?
No,
And-
don't worry about it.
Practicing for what you
and
want to do, all right?
Bonnie, you will not be able
I think I
to.
better drive. I better pick him
Depending
up.
on if everybody's going down, I'll go down Saturday
Mhm.
and for Saturday and Sunday, but I'll probably be leaving Sunday night. I won't be staying till Monday, as of right now, because the dates of Capital Conference are the 12th,
13th, 14th.
14th, 12th, 13th, and 14th. As of right now, I believe I'll be leaving on Sunday, but I'll let you know. I may, if I can't, but I believe I will be.
Yeah, maybe we can look at all going down on Saturday. Maybe
Yeah,
that
I-
might be an opportunity for us.
Yeah, I'll go down on Saturday, and then I'll be there for Sunday for the work sessions on, the breakout sessions on Sunday.
Okay, and then.
You going down
Mr.
for-
Mr. Neal, you think you'd be there you think you'd be able to do Saturday?
Probably same, so,
Okay.
Put me down for Saturday as well.
yeah.
Are you gonna stay the whole time? Are you gonna stay through Tuesday, or?
Yeah.
Can't think that far in advance, come on.
Okay, that's
I got a
good.
headache trying to think that
Good for
far.
now.
That's 2 months, 3 months from now. Come on. Alright, where we at?
We have to vote.
Mr. Street, you got everybody now?
Yes.
Alright, can we vote on
It's
this?
like herding cats.
Yes, it is. It's like hurting
And,
cats.
What are we voting on again?
We did.
This,
We-
he's
we
the
vote
delegate.
I interrupted, yes.
Oh,
so,
okay.
yes, we're
I
good.
thought I heard that, alright. so-
Past it.
Come on, let's go here.
Okay.
Resolved, the Brooklyn
Just
City
like
School
the
District
circus.
Board of Education hereby enters into agreement with Healthcare Process Consulting Incorporated for the purpose of HPC assisting the district in managing the Ohio Medicaid program in order to procure federal Medicaid reimbursement for Medicaid eligible services provided by the district.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? I think we need some insight on this.
The district has students that are eligible
That's right.
for Medicaid. And the federal government allows districts to submit for eligible services reimbursement. And this company helps us wade through the federal waters of the federal government to get that reimbursement. And I looked this afternoon, we received reimbursement of about $220,000.
Nice.
And this company costs us about $7,000. So, good
Good deal.
return.
Good
Yeah, good deal.
All right,
Okay.
everybody's good with that? Hold on a second. Mrs. Street, can you call the roll?
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby enters into agreement with attorneys McGowan and Markling Company LPA to provide 5 hours of free legal services.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Mr. Street, Mr. Lykoff, anything? This is just free service for.
Free is
from
always
one of
good.
the- well, yeah.
Free is
One of-
always
one of
good.
our-
So we-
One of our
Price.
laws.
Yeah, so we take advantage of the 5 free hours,
Absolutely.
give them calls about certain things, some things that we wouldn't want to, spend the money on otherwise, and they provided just a quick phone call and keeps us from having to spend, thousands or a couple $100 for those.
This is one of the law firms that we use, correct?
Yes, correct.
Thank you.
When you call John, make sure you use your timer, not his.
Yeah.
Well, that-
Good luck
that
with
is,
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good luck
by the
with that.
minute.
Anybody else?
I'd like to thank them for making this offer, the 5 hours free, so extend our thanks for the offer.
Yep. Ms. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Do we have any correspondence related to action information? I think we need to speak about a replacement meeting that we missed on August, whatever day it was.
Last week.
Yeah,
7th.
7th.
Yes.
Everybody look at their calendars or have a general idea?
For next week, are you talking? Or-
No, shortly, within the next 2 weeks.
Because after next week, you're talking about we're getting
Yes.
close to Labor Day weekend, so
Oh,
then,
that's right, the Labor Day weekend is September 1st, 2nd, somewhere around there.
yeah, so,
What is today, the
Fourth.
15th? Let's look at,
Next week's pretty jammed with the schools, so.
yeah, let's avoid that. Let's look at 28, 29, 30, right before Labor Day.
that's fine.
Is that fair? Can everybody get back to me with that one? Look at those 3 days,
Yep.
all right? August 28, and we had a topic for last meeting that had to get rescheduled, and we'll bring it back to the table. Any other business?
I have one item I want to talk about. I brought it up in my weekly report with the board regarding some new federal regulations
Thank you.
as that's going down the line. One of the policies that you're going to, that policy will see be revised is food service, in particular collection and payment of charged meals. This is a federal piece that's coming in terms of school district policies. So you probably have heard the term lunch shaming. Maybe, maybe not. Talking about how, students are getting alternate meals or perhaps not even being fed at all. So as the state of Ohio took this policy, they said, well, okay, districts have to adopt these new changes. What they've now said, though, is you have to look at your administrative guidelines and be very clear about how you are going to charge meals. And that charging guideline has to be articulated to your parents very clearly. We don't care what you do, but we're going to have to be, you have to be clear with that so they know ahead of time. So here's kind of the thumbnail of why this is such an important guideline. Because number one, the food service can never be in the red. It has to be subsidized. So if we have charges and there are charges to it, and let's say the Glycoffs just, have got $400 of charges, meal charges. That has to come from somewhere, even if it doesn't come from the Glycoffs. And so what has happened in the past with school districts is perhaps they might just take that from the general fund or the 001. Well, we know that our 001 is not flush in cash to be able to do that. So what are your options? You do a couple of things. Do you say to little Mark when he comes through the line, hey, you know what, you owe money, we're not going to feed you, or we're going to give you an alternative lunch until you pay up the charges. So this has been a guideline that myself and the administrators have been kind of really going back and around about over the last several weeks to kind of discuss. But I want to bring it to you because obviously you see the dilemma. We want to feed our kids, but we also don't want to be subsidizing everything. So where we landed here, and I want to bring this to discussion for the board, is, where we looked at it was when we do the meal charges, we were looking at, and we hope that a lot of our parents use Easy Pay, because really, essentially, it is easy. You can put the money on there, it shows that they have cash, they charge meals against it. Once they get to a point of charging up to $10 beyond into the hole, then it's going to start to alert them and say, hey, wait a second, which nets is about 3 lunches. We're going to then tell kids, okay, wait a second, now you're beyond that. We're going to give you an alternative lunch. Now that alternative lunch is, there and has all the components. What if they go beyond that? Well, that's where the different schools and the different levels had different thoughts about. At the elementary and the intermediate level, the thought was, we want to feed them. So the thought process was, we will get some smaller crustable sandwiches and say, okay, little Mark, unfortunately, we haven't paid that up. We're going to give you this crustable sandwich with some drink, maybe water or whatever the case may be. When we look at the high school, though, and we talked about this, and the thought was, those students, they're typically a little more responsible. They can go home and tell mom and dad, hey, wait a second, I got to pay up this. The thought process was, you know what? We're not going to feed them. We're going to tell them, little Mark, or Mark in this case, who might be in 10th grade, that, we're not going to feed you. After charging 3 as well as giving the alternative meal. You understand why I'm bringing this to you, because perhaps you may get a call about that when little Mark doesn't get his meal and something happens. So I want to bring it to you for your discussion because we want to make sure that we have a guideline that is acceptable to all. So one of the things you got to understand something, we do have some accrued debt. I mean, unfortunately we have some students who have accrued quite a bit of debt in terms of lunch, and we've sent letters out, we've sent all sorts of things out to those folks, and hopefully we're going to try to get that. So, give me some thoughts as we look at this.
My thoughts are, I think you should feed the child. The mom in me always says, feed the child. And I don't think you should feed them the alternate meal. Feed them. $10 is a low threshold. That's only 3 meals. I think you're better to recoup your money. I think the way you'll get your money back is how we've done it in the past with things like the field trip. I know it wasn't like made clear you can't go on the green field trip if you have any outstanding debt, like if you owe for the library or the lunch, because parents will pay for that part. I think it almost, to me, it seems like you're gonna punish the child for something they have no control over. They can't give you the $10 if their parents aren't giving it to you, And I also think in a way, I just think you should just feed the child. I mean, I know people say it's the mom in me, but it is. Just feed the child. It's better for them to have food and so they can focus on school than for them to be getting their cheese sandwich and not eating it and not. I think there's other ways. I think in the past with the high school, we've done prom and graduation. If you don't have your fees paid up, I know we've had issues where people have come to us because there's been hundreds of dollars, and I understand that. Also, and as a parent, I know myself, there's days that the kids have forgot their lunch at home, and and so they bought a lunch, and then and I don't see that their account, and then I'll just dump a lump sum of money in there, you know what I mean? And then I kind of forget about it. I put in $50. Well, have they gone through it? Have they not? feed the kids is how just how I feel about it. Just feed them the normal meal, because in my opinion, I bet from my position where I work, I can say I'm sure we're probably throwing away a lot of our regular meals, and it's a shame if we're going to be throwing away food that we could have just given to a student and fed a child with, is how I feel about it.
I'm gonna have to agree with Bonnie on that one. I've seen a lot of throwaway, and let's face it, the lunch lady makes mistakes. I personally had 3 mistakes made with my son's lunch. They said that he had 0 money in there when in fact she had overcharged him 3 times for meals and put him at 0. So I don't think I want to get a phone call from someone who says, you guys made the mistake and you didn't feed my kid. So I'm for feeding him. And as far as the prom thing goes, well, there was another mistake. 4 years ago, my son was accused of not turning in a book, and finally, when he went to get his prom ticket, they said, no, you can't have it because you didn't turn your book in from 9th grade. And he's like, yeah, I did. And they went there, and there was the book. So I don't think we should be trying to, I don't want to say stick it to the kid or the parents, but before we put someone in a negative attitude, we really need to make sure our books are right before we withhold something from anybody. So I'm with Bonnie. Feed them before we know.
Yeah, I think just feed the kids. I know my daughter has said, she's come home like once or twice. She said, Mom, I bought for lunch today. I said, but you had your lunch. She's like, yeah, but the other kid didn't have lunch, and they're not a free kid, so I bought, and I gave him the lunch. Okay, what are you going to say to that? I'm like, what can I say to that? I'm like, that's fine. I'm like, please don't buy lunch for all, every one of your 100 classmates, but, the bar checks don't want to pay for that, but, what can you say to that? I'm like, yeah, okay, that's good. Get paid. So my thing is just feed the kids.
Yeah, I would say, I'd like to look at, is it germane? Is it that much of a problem? I know about 49% of our kids are free reduced
Talking
lunch.
thousands? When you say accrued some debt, are we talking thousands?
Yeah,
or what?
I've heard hundreds of dollars in some
Yeah, I'm sure.
cases.
But per
Yeah.
individual.
Yes,
Yeah, I think
and that's significant.
Sure, but I think that's where the mitigation comes in early. Making sure, number one, that the information is accurate.
Well,
for what's owed.
So that's a good point, Mr. Singer, because one of the things incorporated into this guideline is after a given point in time, we have to communicate to those families.
Yeah.
Hey, Glycoffs, you've accrued $25, dollars worth of debt. You need to know that. This is the ramifications of that. How are we now going to get that back? I mean, I'll be honest, and I've told this to my administrative staff. In another district where I was a principal, I made calls. And, hey, you owe so much. It's a difficult call to make, but it's one that I necessarily had to do and say, we can, if you want to give me a couple bucks each week, I don't care. Just something to good faith to do that. And that we incorporated that into that. So it's kind of a twofold issue. We've got some significant debt that's out there, and for whatever reason, we've got to try to get that back. We do have that incorporated in here about seniors, because there's end of the year activities like prom, like graduation that they want to do that. I mean, and that's really the reason for us to bring it today with you, because this is one of those issues it's delicate, it's awkward, but it's significant because it has different balances to it. We want to be able to we want to provide the support, nourishment to our students, but we also want to be responsible to, our general fund as well.
I think if you use those field trips, like the Greenfield, like the Washington DC trip, they'll pay it up because they want their kid to be able to go, and prom and stuff like that. You're better off getting it then, or if they're not paying it. And also the other thing about this is $10 is really low. I mean, as a parent with 3 kids, I've been like, whoa, I owe $30. I didn't know that. Okay, let me put some money on there. It happened. That's 3 meals, and I think there's other ways we could recoup it, and I know we gotta watch that, and we shouldn't, I know we're not a wealthy district. We can't take on all that debt, but I believe there's other times when you'll get it. You'll get it because they want them to go on those field trips, and you'll get it then, but not at the expense of the child. And the kids are gonna know. When the other kids handed out a cheese sandwich, the other kids are gonna see that, Just like we don't want any kids to know who is free or reduced, we shouldn't want any of the other kids to see this also. That's my opinion also on that. We make sure that those kids aren't, we don't want any child embarrassed or, and
I embarrass my daughters. Let me tell you a little scam.
I try to embarrass Logan and
Here's
Ian
a
all the time.
Here's a scam that my daughters pull. So they make a lunch. They make a lunch and then they decide they don't like their lunch that they made. And then they go to the cafeteria and get a lunch. Of course, they don't tell mom or dad.
and that's what happens in the bar check house.
And then all of a sudden, there's a deficit. Pam or myself will go, why is there a deficit in the account? Who went to lunch? I thought you guys were packing lunch. Oh, yeah, but we liked what they were offering at school. So we decided to go with that.
make 'em work it off?
Or the
Wait till
worst
they
thing-
get to
or the
college.
Or the worst part is, in the bar check house, they'll say, we bought the breakfast. And my husband will say, we have the exact same things here, but it's the school breakfast. Okay, so we'll,
They should sell their
so-
lunches and make up their money.
And it'll happen. I
Yeah.
feel you, Rick. But sometimes I'm like, what do you mean? I packed your lunch every day. Why do you have? Oh, because we liked it. We thought, or we buy it for somebody else.
Breakfast that good here in the morning? Can I come here every morning? I'll pay.
Apparently.
I don't care.
That's why the
You don't get up in
accountability.
Yeah, you don't have a
I'm sleeping still.
I think the communication between the parents and the kids they won't tell their parents. Sometimes they'll just go and get breakfast or lunch or whatever, and don't tell mom and dad. And then there's this issue of over the account. I think the earlier we
Sensing some
attack
jealousy
it,
about me retiring.
or communicate with it, I think the better relations will be with parents to help them monitor what the kids are.
And I know that we're sensitive to that, because certainly we want to keep those communications. Realize what we probably will have is guidelines that are very similar to what we've done in the past, which accrued quite a bit of debt. So I just want to make sure that we're,
I think it's, communications is a two-way street. If we go back to the parents, if the administrators go back to the parents when it gets to a certain point, maybe other things will come into play as the reasons why. And it's all part of communicating with the parents as well. Which is, I guess, I obviously have been keeping tabs on it over the years, but maybe we just need to, and make it very, at open house, make it very, really emphasize the point that this is going to happen and you're going to get a call
Come to
if
my house,
this
I'll make 'em
is
food.
happening, and, shame the parents as opposed to shaming the kids.
Are you asking
Not
the
about shame
board
anybody, but.
for guidance or policy?
Well,
Or,
I'm
I
asking-
know insight.
I'm asking you for
I was just
some
gonna be.
insight on this guideline.
Okay.
Because this will be a guideline that
Right.
you will hear about.
I'm sure. If we don't
Because
feed a child, I'll hear, I'm sure.
Let's just go through the scenario. If little Mark doesn't get a lunch,
Feed them all.
Mark's mom or dad may call you. They might circumnavigate the chain of command, perhaps, and go right to you. And that's why I want you to be aware of that. So it is one. And I told the administrative staff today when we met, I said, I want to bring this to the board because this is one that they're going to get perhaps a call on and will need to support. And I think we even, as you can notice, we kind of looked at it from two different ways, because we looked at it from the younger child and they said, you know what, we want to feed them. The older students perhaps would know enough to be able to communicate with mom and dad and say, hey, you know what?
That's true.
You know what? Hey, Mom, I need some money for this. I need to do this. But, I mean, I want us to, be in an agreement with that as well.
Right.
So,
And also, I think we shouldn't, I know for my current position, like where I'm at and where I work, there is kids who've come to school and said, they're not on our free and reduced list, but they're like, we have nothing to eat in the house. You can't blame a child if their parent won't fill out a free and reduced application for whatever reason. Feed them. I know it's the mom and me, I know. Feed them all, feed them all.
and realize
You know-
this, Mrs. Barczyk, we do send those forms home with families.
Oh, I know, but I mean, there's
multiple
some people
times.
that won't.
And you're right.
they're
People
just-
choose not to do
they-
it for whatever reason.
Like they, out of whatever reason, some are just, they private and embarrassed, but they'll come and say, we have nothing in our, I mean, it doesn't happen quite often, but it does happen to where, they're like, we really had nothing in the house
Sure.
at all. And of course, you just feed that child, Yeah, so I just feed them.
So
all.
I'm hearing, what we kind of created here for the elementary intermediate, we're going to continue, we'd feed also the high school students as well. Is that what I'm
I don't
hearing?
think, I'm against any kind of secondary menu.
Yeah, I'm against any kind of
I mean,
cheese sandwich.
Do we have
Feed them the-
nutritional issues
Yeah.
anymore?
feed them the
Well,
regular-
the alternative meal there that they've done in the past consists of all the components that so it's
Peanut butter jelly?
fruit, vegetable,
No, you can't do
milk.
peanut butter anymore because
good
peanut butter
stuff?
allergies. So
So-
you can't really do
God,
it.
no,
You
no
can't.
peanuts,
I should
for
be a
God's
giant.
sakes.
You can't do the peanut.
So the alternative meal that's described here is one that has the components
Does it?
that
See,
we
I
have to.
think just give them the regular meal, not even that.
How much does a regular meal cost?
It's like $2.30 or $2.50
Well,
or
and
something.
see, this is where it would be nice if Mrs. because she knows the what's reimbursable to the federal guidelines. It's kind of a very complicated
Where's the
piece.
limit at? I mean, if we got it at 10, why set it at 10, which, okay, you can go to 100. I mean, after that.
The 10, I think, was looking at, because one of the things that was looked at was what other school districts are doing.
By the
And
time,
that's
by the
okay.
time you get the collection of $10,
Yeah.
it's already 20 or 30.
Yeah.
More than likely.
You're spending more time.
Why not
choosing
put it at
what
100?
you know.
I mean, I think, and also here in Brooklyn, even though we're at, what are we at for free and reduced? We're at more than 49. We're at more than 49.
I
I
thought
thought we were in
49.
60. I thought we were at 60. Or what is our free and
I think
reduced
we're
number?
just over 50.
Oh, just
right
over
now.
50. Even though we're at the 50, I think we're also not we're not a rich district. We preach that all the time to everybody. We tell everybody, yeah, we're throwing food away. We're not a rich district. We keep preaching that to everybody. Don't take it out on the child. I mean, it also may not even be like the parents not willing to pay. Like Rick and I just said, like there's times when I'm like, how is there $30 owed? Okay, or sometimes I'll just dump a lump amount in there because it's like you don't even know what's going, that they're using it. Feed the child a regular meal, especially if we're, like Bob said, if we're throwing food away, I think that's a shame. Just give them the food.
Is
I don't think we'll
$10 the
ever
right
avoid
number?
throwing food away. Let me put that.
But I'm just saying, why would we throw away the
Yeah,
regular
if
meal
it's-
if we're going to give a
If
kid a
we're
cheese
throwing it
sandwich?
away and then we're gonna charge someone, how do you
Yeah.
next thing you know, you're gonna throw it away, but then you're gonna charge me?
Let me
I'm a
do this
taxpayer.
then,
What
because
am
I
I?
think I've heard some feelings that we want to feed students. We want to look at perhaps raising the charge amount. Let me go back and refashion this and then share this with you in my weekly report.
I think, yeah, and.
Because we have to, I'm sorry,
Right,
Mr.
yeah.
Oprah, we just have to communicate this very early next week to our parents.
Right, that's what I was gonna say, if it's really strongly emphasized and it's walking a fine line, you don't wanna say, if this isn't adhered to, other measures may be put in place, because that's real gray and ambiguous as well, so it's a tricky, it's a tricky thing.
What vehicles do we have, venues do we have to collect money other than Easy Pay? Is that the only system we have?
When you get a phone call, you're the collection guy.
And that's the other part about it. I really don't think I want our principals spending time calling parents about money for lunches. I think our principals need to be focusing on education. I mean, they already have enough issues to deal with discipline. We've discussed that. Now we're gonna have them calling parents over $10. They'll be on the phone all day, every day with parents. That's not gonna be an easy conversation. That's gonna lead to parents giving their explanations. I think it's,
Well, it may not be, the principal might be, a Laura Baker or somebody like that initially, until things get.
or whoever, I feel sorry for whoever has to make those phone calls, because those are not gonna be easy
And
calls.
having
Yeah,
done them,
really.
but
They're
I'll
not
tell
gonna be
you,
easy.
even though it's difficult, it's a little more significant when your principal or administrator calls relative to a secretary or someone else.
Yeah.
But what do we
I'm
want
just
them
gonna-
spending time calling?
And I get that. So and that's why I say this issue has multiple tentacles to it. It's not easy. Because we could simply say, hey, we're just going to write down what we do guideline-wise and say, everybody, that's what we're going to do. And we could continue to accrue debt. If that's what the board supports,
How much debt do we have from this lunch?
I
Do you
would
know the
have to get
exact
that
dollar
figure
amount?
from Mrs. Neal.
Well,
But I-
you have another tentacle is, what if mom and dad packs a lunch for the kids? And not only do they eat that lunch, but they also eat, the cafeteria lunch. If you're having a conversation with the principal and the parent's gonna say, well, wait a minute, we pack our lunches every day. It could be an issue with what's in that lunch, and what is even scarier, and Bonnie, you mentioned it, but the peanut butter. What if the kid decides, I want to try a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, at school, if they offer peanut butter and jelly, which I know
No,
we don't.
cheese, I'm sure.
But let's say they offer some food product that the kids shouldn't be eating. And that's where the identification comes in, where the parents have to come in and say, why are you eating 2 lunches? And I know that happens because I know it happens with our athletes.
Yeah.
Our athletes complain that they're not getting fed enough.
Yeah.
Another thing I'm sure you're gonna hear from parents, $10 is 3 lunches. You'll hear from parents who they'll say, well, what about the parents who, I don't get paid this week? Not even 5 days. You know what I mean? They're gonna come across all these things. $10 is a low amount, I think.
Yeah,
That's,
A higher
yeah,
threshold.
that's sticky one there, and I think, I just don't want, in my personal opinion, I don't want my principals spending time talking about, I'm interested to see what the dollar amount is, but I think you'll get it, I'm sure, I would like to see the data, to be honest with you. I would like to see how much we collect senior year, because I'm sure it's quite a bit. How much we collect right before the Greenfield trip, because I'm sure it's quite a bit. Right before the Washington DC trip, because I'm sure it's quite a bit. And see where we, like, when this money comes back in, how much we owe, but
All right, let's move on with this. Everybody good with it? Got their opinions in it?
We killed this one.
Dr. Block,
I'm writing my notes here.
that's one heck of a,
ready for dessert?
yeah,
that was just another business too.
I know.
So we got some homework to do on it. Dr. Blankoff will touch base with us.
Anything else?
Yep. I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda.
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Hold on one second. Who knows what- Nope, take that back, reverse. We're gonna have to amend it again, I screwed up. Delete that one.
Okay, delete it. So noted.
Forget the seconds.
No, I forgot, the announcement of the next regular meeting of the Board of Education, August 15, 2017.
September 15th.
Yeah.
It should be the 19th, not the 15th.
September 19th.
Yeah, that's 19.
Yeah, September 9th. Well, yeah.
All right. Announcement of the next regular meeting of the Board of Education is going to be Tuesday, September 19th, in the Media Center located in the Brooklyn Intermediate Elementary School, 9200 Bidoff, Brooklyn, Ohio, 6 p.m. Now, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda.
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education recess into consecutive executive sessions to consider the evaluation of the superintendent who is a public employee. And hold on one second, I gotta get our language. And for the second one will be resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education recess into the second executive session to consider the purchase of property for public purposes for the sale of the property at the competitive bidding or the sale of the disposition of the unneeded, obsolete, unfit for use property in accordance with section 505.10 of the revised code. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Street, can you call the roll?
Mr. Roper?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
We're going to go to executive session.